Now, interview time, baby. Let's get it. This is, of course, not your regular Blackie video. It's an interview with Token I did around 2 weeks ago where we spoke on a couple different things regarding the benefits of signing to a label as a rapper. Now, I've talked a lot about the pitfalls of signing as a rapper, done countless of videos on that, but I wanted to get another perspective on it, and I wanted to get it from someone who's actually got it out the mud independently and has made it to a place where he didn't need to sign to a label because he was in a really comfortable position career-wise, but he did have his reasons and eventually ended up signing. This interview right here is packed with a lot of informative insight, and it's especially going to be really helpful to anyone who's an artist themselves, makes music, is trying to make their way through the music industry. If you guys would like to see more interview videos, definitely drop a like on this video so I know that that's something you would be interested in. We got to get at least 10k likes on this one. Come on now. Anyway, before we get into the interview, I got to do a little introduction. Who is Token, a little bit about his background, etc. I'll leave a timestamp in the description below just in case you want to go straight to the interview, but I suggest you don't, goddammit. A lot of people are, of course, already familiar with Token. You might have seen that Token versus Eminem video I made back in 2018 that became really popular, but Token is a young rapper from Massachusetts who's been building his wave in the underground scene for years now. The first song that kind of put him on a map was a freestyle slash song titled No Suck MCs. He did have some other videos that went kind of viral a couple years ago, like Definition of a Rap Flow, that went kind of crazy on Facebook. I remember seeing that video years ago before I even knew who he actually was. One of his more popular tracks though, especially on YouTube, is this one called Doozy. If you know Token, you probably know that a lot of people initially got into him purely because of the technical abilities. Speaking from a rapper standpoint, he was very much consistently showing off in his music. I'm of course talking about that fast rapping style that he's been known for pretty much the entirety of his career. Now Token has in the past 2 years, but especially the last year, done kind of a 180 as far as his rapping style goes. A lot of his newer work is way more focused on the sound in general rather than just him showing off his rapping skills. That right there has been the biggest shift in his music. His album Between Somewhere that he dropped in 2018 definitely solidified the direction he's trying to go in. He's dropped a couple of really hard-hitting records this year, one of them being Curfew and another one being 30 People, which is actually the first song he's dropped under Atlantic Records, which is of course the label he's signed to. Now he announced that he officially became a signed rapper back in August, and on top of signing, he also started his own label, Never Too Different, which is huge. You don't see a lot of young rappers starting labels exactly during the same time that they're signing. I've noticed that for a lot of young rappers who start labels, it's almost like an afterthought, which it wasn't for Token. Anyway, I think that's enough for an intro, but what's the point of signing as a rapper? Let's find that out. Infrastructure backing you up. You now have a lot of different resources you're gonna be able to tap into, but how is this move gonna positively affect your career?
Alright, so I'm brand new in the label situation, so I can't speak to what exactly is gonna happen. A reason why it makes sense now is because I know my music is ready. You know, I know that the music has gotten to a point where it could be hugely benefited by a label. You know, like for music I was making in the past, like I feel like I didn't like need a label. I mean, I still don't need a label. I'm like, if you know me, I'm the most independent person no matter what. It doesn't matter who's on my team. Like I still operate, even as now I'm new in a label, but I still operate as it's like me and my manager. We have conversations daily. I'm working like 24/7. Like it's not, you know, I'm part of a label, but I honestly don't feel the difference. And like the upside that will come from it, you know, we'll see. I mean, I just know my songs are getting to the point that like they're ready to be in a machine.
Bro, would you personally say that it's important to sign for the right reasons? And I'm only asking this because we've seen cases of rappers signing strictly for that check, which whether or not that's a good reason, that's a whole nother conversation, right? But relating it back to your own career, how would you personally answer this question?
Doing anything for a check is a bad decision. Just doing it solely for a check because, you know, you spend the money and it's gone, and then you have to live with the decision that you made. You know, I learned that on a very small level when, you know, when I was like 16 and I like started gaining like some traction on the internet and people started paying me like $75, $100 for features, or, might have been 15 or whatever. And I was hyped. And I was like, I can get $100 off of writing a 16, just young as hell. And I did a bunch of them. And like, the money ended up getting spent. And I'm like, now I have all these songs with these horrible artists now. And that was like a moment of like, I just can't make any decision for the money. Signing for the money is, of course, not the best business move, but some people had to do it. I'm lucky enough that I have a catalog. I have real fans who buy real tickets, who buy real VIP tickets, who want to see me live. Like, I wasn't worried about money like that. If anything, this is a crazy part. If anything, it was a bitter pill to swallow. Yeah, I got a check from the label, but they take two. And it's like, I'm so used to making all of the money that it's like I didn't sign the deal like, now I'm rich. It was it definitely wasn't the opposite of that, but it was not for the money. And there's just a lot of artists who might be popping, might appear way more popping than me, but they don't have a fan base like mine. They won't buy like mine. They won't buy merch like mine. They won't come to the shows like mine all over the world. So I'm just in a blessed situation to have that fan base, and money wasn't the reason why I signed the deal. It was for the people I signed with.
One thing I wholeheartedly believe in is that if you really want to make it to a mainstream level as a rapper, 9 times out of 10, you have to sign. As an artist yourself, would you say that there's any kind of truth to that or not?
I feel like there is truth to you need a label to be one of the biggest mainstream artists, just because it's like, realistically, you just look and there's no artists who are huge that are signed. But that's not why I did it, because the worst thing that I probably have that like I don't even like to talk about is that I don't even know what I want. I've had a very small taste of fame and money in the grand scheme of things, and I'm still trying to understand it. And when I see artists that, a part of me, I think I want to be the biggest thing on earth. And then a part of me is scared of that. So like, I don't know, I'm still learning that. So I think there is truth to you need a label to be a mainstream, like, huge top 10 artist, but that's not why I did it.
A very straightforward question, but would you say that you now being a signed rapper gives you more, freedom to do you, or does it not?
Does being a signed artist feel like I have more freedom or less freedom? I honestly feel the same, bro. Like, I just have a group of people who believe in me. Like, I had a group of people who believed me before I signed. It was just a smaller group of people. Like, I don't feel chained down. I don't feel like I gotta make a certain song to, like, please certain people. I just don't feel like that. I just feel like the people I'm working with now just want to hear my truth, want me to do me, and they've got a sneak peek of, like, the music that's to come, and they know where it's going. And it's like, the freedom, like, I still feel like, I still feel the same. I just have more people invested and more people, watching. It's the weirdest thing for me is like how, there's more people I gotta like update, but like, that doesn't affect anything. Like, I don't feel like I'm forced to do anything. I don't feel like, again, it's new. Maybe tomorrow some crazy shit's gonna happen and I'm gonna want to take down this interview and be like, fuck labels. I just don't see it happening. I know the people I'm working with. I know them well. I turned down this deal twice before I signed it. I wasn't in a rush, and financially, I wasn't in a rush to sign. That's another miscommunication of like, for sure there are some artists who sign for money. I could have signed a much more lucrative deal. I didn't sign it for the money. I've never put the money first. And as someone who has fans who buy their stuff, for someone like me who can sell as many tickets as I can globally, it's like money is not, I'm not starving. And I'm aware of my age. I'm 21. Like, I just feel like I'm not in a rush to be, like, so needy like that. Like, I still feel like I'm 100% free.
By the way, on that note, on top of having that expanded network, what exactly would you say your label is doing for you that you couldn't do for yourself as an independent artist?
That's a tough question because I don't want to make them mad, but I feel like I could do everything independently. But I haven't, it's just a brand new situation. They might do something that I'm like, wow, I never had that connection. So I don't know. I'm a firm believer that I'm going to get to where I want to be no matter what. So have they done anything yet that I'm like, how did that happen? No, but I barely started working with them yet. So we'll see. Do I feel like some stuff will happen? Yeah. Do I feel like they can help me with a lot of different connections and a lot of me meeting people and growing my business and at the end of the day, they're professional people. There's a lot of people who know what they're talking about. I'm not saying everybody is a genius. I think I'm a genius with this shit. I think my manager's a genius with this shit. There's a lot of people trying to just be where I am today. There's a lot that goes into it. So at the end of the day, I just like being around creative minds, people who I feel like know what the fuck they're talking about. And the organization I'm in now, I feel like that. And I'm signed to Atlantic, but I work with a very specific group within Atlantic. I don't feel like I'm in Atlantic competing with Cardi B and competing with Uzi. I don't feel like that. I feel like there's a group of people who are just focused on me and my vision, and I feel like there's just a lot of minds that I've already learned a lot and feel like we'll continue learning about, ways to take me to where I need to go.
By the way, how come now was the right time for you to sign? Because, like we all know, you've been independent up until this point. What I'm wondering and what I'm asking is, why did you sign right now and not 2 years ago?
That's a good question because I could have signed 2 years ago. I could have signed more than 2 years ago. The reason why I sign now is because I know my music is ready. Before, I just didn't feel like my music belonged. It wouldn't even find a space in a machine like that. I know that not even my music, who I am as a person, in the past, when you listen to my last project, it sounds like a kid who's just getting used to the life, Where I am right now, I'm still getting used to it, but I feel more confident. I feel more like an adult in it. I feel like I have a better relationship with fame and money and all of that. So I just know at this moment, the music is ready. And, I'll let the music do the speaking for itself when it comes out. But, that was the reason now. And, even above that, it was how confident I felt in the team. To tell a little quick story, the first time I went to LA and I started working in the studios of the label I'm signed with, I was fresh. It was the first time I was fresh off a tour. I was so hyped. I had some new money in my pocket and I was making a lot of songs that were hard as fuck, but were not too much meaning to them. But they went hard. If I release them now, they might be my biggest song now because of how hard they went. But they didn't have too much of a meaning. It was just fun songs. When I sat down with the label after that, they were like, these are cool. These would work for a lot of artists. But we want to get to know you. We want to know what you have to say. We fell in love with you because of the things you said in your project and the person we feel like you are that we learned through the music. Those records are cool. Those records could go, but that's not why we're in there was the only group of people who said that to me. No one else said that to me. Everyone heard my biggest sounding records and they were like, let's go with that one. And that was just, there were a lot of tellers, but that was a main teller. These people just want me to be myself. They're doing the opposite of what a lot of fans think they'd be doing. You'd think they'd be doing stop talking about your depression. Start talking about your whips. But it was a complete other situation.
How would you say that the, reception has been from your fans as far as you signing?
The real fans know I'm not an idiot. So I would never put myself in a situation that I'm going to be taken advantage of. Also, people who listen to my music know I'm fine money-wise. I'm successful to a point where like I'm not in a struggling place. I'm not making any decision for the money. So, you know, the majority of the fans just happy for me because they believe in my vision. They believe that I'm making the right choice because I am. Is there a group of people who see me sitting down in office and they're like, no, we did it? But man, those people just listened to like the two artists that told them that labels were evil, and that's what they believed. And shout out to those people. I get why you think like that. But at the end of the day, when you're not on the inside, you just won't understand it like that. And I just think, it's cool that, and I have such an intimate relationship with my fans, and I'm so intimate with my lyrics that like they really want to be a part of everything. Like they want to be a part of like that's why like there's a lot of people who signed and never announced it. That's why I felt like it was important to announce it, especially with the creation of my label, Never Too Different, which is which is an imprint on the label I'm signed to. It was important. But there's definitely gonna be people confused, but they'll forget about it and they'll know that like the next they'll hear the next music and think it's fire and be like, well, guess I was wrong.
Okay, I feel you. That makes a lot of sense. But another question I actually have is how has your network expanded with you signing? One thing most people, quote unquote, the general public, right? And I used to be there myself. Like I didn't know this, but one big reason why a lot of artists sign is because they really want to grow their, their network, so to speak. They simply want to expand their network, right? And signing to a label as a rapper or just as an artist, period, by the way, that's one of the quickest ways to kind of do that. That right there, that's a very compelling reason for any unsigned rapper to transition from the indie lifestyle to being a signed artist. And like they say, your network is your net worth. I feel like I'm ranting right now, but that expansion of the network, what does it look like? Can you maybe describe it to us?
There's definitely truth in the network wrong. Like I said, I'm new in the label, so I haven't milked it for everything. It has. I've released one song, but they're just connected to everybody. They just really are. I mean, if you're signed to the right group of people and, them connecting to everybody, like artists and different companies and streaming platforms and relationships there, it does a lot. When you realize how important those things are, like as you're like the level I am, but you're trying to cross over to the next level, like it is important, but it's only worthy if they have the same vision of you. Because if there's a label who wants you to be someone else, which that's what fans see and get scared that like I'm gonna do, but they'll see that that's not gonna be the case. Like there's artists who you see like change, and they might have connections, but they're not connecting you with the people you want to be connected with. I know that the group of people I have, we're on the same page of where my destination is. So the connections they have are gonna be, the connections they want from me are gonna be the same connections I want from me. We're on the same page. So the network is for sure important. One of the most important things, but only if you're on the same page.
Now, Token, my guy, can you talk a little bit about why you decided to sign? Because you've been known for being an independent rapper. You've been grinding independently, obviously doing shows all over the world independently, dropping music with no kind of industry support. But now you're a signed rapper. On top of that, you started your own label while you were at it. Was there one specific reason why you decided to sign, or are there like, multiple? Maybe let me know a little bit about that.
There was definitely a few reasons why I decided to sign. I think the biggest reason was I found a team that I felt confident that had no plan to change who I am. And they just wanted to be a part of my growth and my natural evolution, and they were hearing new music and they just got excited about me. I've taken like a lot of meetings from, the jump, and I've always turned it down. And this was just the one situation where I felt like we were just completely on the same page. It was that, and it was also like, I always feel like no matter what, no matter who has my back and who is pushing me, it's always going to be me who's taking it home, and I just didn't want to I feel like at this point in my career, I've done what I've done independently. I feel confident that I could go many more levels independently, but I don't want to look back and regret that I never tried the label thing. like I used to have this idea that like used to be basically scared of just letting people in my business. What I've learned is just different people are different people, different situations are situations, and what it comes down to me is literally like making sure the business is right and then making sure the people are on the same page. And I just don't want to look back later in my career and just be like, bro, I didn't even try to give the label thing a shot. Like, my contract is good. Like, I'm not signed there for the rest of my life. So if it doesn't work out, I'm going to be independent again. Like, and the business works out. So I just didn't see a downside. All I saw was a possibility of huge upside.
So I have a question regarding, the stigma surrounding rappers signing. Now, you probably know that I'm I'm not going to say anti-labels, but I describe myself as more pro-independent, so to speak. But what kind of misconceptions do you think there is towards a rapper who is independent and then decides to sign to a label? When I say this, I'm referring to the whole, selling your soul conversation. Maybe give me your take on that.
The misconceptions of artists signing to a label is hilarious because, there's a lot of fans out there who, I sometimes wish that fans didn't try to understand the business so much because the business is complicated. And if you listen to a couple artists who tell you every business person is evil, it's easy to make a fan think like that. My fans know, and people who know me know, how independent I am. And the truth of the matter is, there's independent artists who are more dependent than signed artists. It's like, what are we talking about? As long as the business isn't taking advantage of you, which I'm sure there's a lot of, and I would never do something like that. And I've turned down, things like that. So if it's not that, I am working in my home studio still with the same producers, and it's like I'm dependent on myself. I'm still not dependent on anyone else because I have a label who believes in me. They're dependent on me. There's unsigned artists who are dependent on a gimmick to sell records and dependent on a feature to sell records. And they could be unsigned. So it's like the question of dependent and independent is like, I'm an independent person. I could do this by myself. And everyone is relying on me more than I'm relying on them. And then, there's artists that might be unsigned. There's a lot of artists who say they're unsigned and they're signed. But there's a lot of artists out there that, like, they may appear independent, but they're not going to release a song without some controversy tied to it or some, like, gimmick or some feature. Like, you got to, like, just listen to the music and, like, hear through that. When you hear my music, and especially what's going to come, I don't sound like a dependent person. I'm speaking my heart. I have my own style. I'm still growing my style. People are more dependent on me.
That's actually facts. I mean, heavy, heavy facts, bro. Wow. I mean, I've never personally looked at it from that perspective. If I'm going to keep it real with you, the whole independent artist being more dependent than a signed artist perspective, that is. I think that right there, what you said kind of wraps this entire conversation together, though. And there is tons of misconceptions regarding rappers signing. Personally, I feel like the business side of it can get so complicated to even understand, especially to the average person who actually really doesn't have a clue how it actually works in the business, right? Anyway, I really want to thank you for this interview, bro. I feel like this is really going to help tons of artists out there in their journey, and hey, you put me onto some game and perspectives that I'm going to take with me. So once again, I really appreciate this, and man, I can't wait for you to start taking over the world, bro. Seriously, like, future is looking bright for you, and in a really weird way, you're still kind of in the beginning stages, even though you are, like, as successful as you are right now. So many heights for you to reach, and I think as time goes on, you're really going to keep on coming into your own, right? You've already been doing a good job at that, and I am really, like, personally, like, really excited to So yeah, there we have it. Hopefully you enjoyed this little interview I did with the boy Token. Definitely not the usual kind of content I post, but you know what? I'm definitely gonna try to do some more of these interviews, you know, from time to time. And I can do that, but you gotta let me know by dropping a like on this one. But yeah, what do you think about this entire topic though? What do you think about what Token had to say about this topic on this interview? Definitely let me know in the comment section below and let's have a discussion about this.